So once you find your position either on your back or up against a wall, we're going to return to our breath. There's a reason that I start there pretty much 99% of the time when I'm offering yoga. It gives you a reason to ground down into your own body. It's a very easy way to look at the inside out. You can feel your breath. You might even hear the sound of your breath. You can sense it in the chest, the ribs. And it just starts to slow you down a little bit too. Just start swiping away, shuffling off all of the clutter that may or may not be on your mind. If you're thinking about your turkey basting for tomorrow, let that go. Just focus on your breathing for a moment here. You have the option to change your shape. You have the option of shifting in your body and your bones. If it feels a little bit more difficult today to connect to your breath, you could always place a palm on your chest or on your belly. And since this is our third week in, maybe you're already noticing some changes in your breathing. Maybe day to day, you've been noticing your breath a little bit more as you're walking about life. And it's starting to resonate a little bit more with you that, yeah, I can tell me how I'm feeling or thinking. And through my breath, I can find a little bit of centeredness, a little bit of calm. You're going to start to find your first little wiggles here, either on your backside or if you're seated upright, then get to it, either shifting legs or knees. Maybe you're noticing how your breath changes even ever so slightly while you're moving in these really simple little ways. You can continue to move, or you can pick a position to halt in for a moment to observe. Notice what shifts and changes happened. You can add a twist, you can add a fold, you can add a reach. You can even squeeze into the muscle, tense up like you're hugging your muscles to your bones, and then give a release. And we're going to take just another moment here to wiggle around on the floor before we all come together with similar movement. So if you are on your backside, you can stay on your backside. We're going to use the floor as a way to indicate what our back is doing, how our spine is shifting and moving, working. And if you want to stay upright, you can always put your back up against a wall. It's just a way to give you some feedback on what your whole torso is doing. So yogi's choice. You can also lean up against a door, a bed, something soft, your couch behind you, whatever But either way, so seat or upright. And if you don't have anything available to you, that's okay too. So we're going to work a little into the upper part of our spine. So this part of our spine is more or less like at the base of our neck to where our last rib connects to our spine. So this is your upper thoracic area. And you're going to place your palm on your chest. So more or less right above your breast. Yep. Almost like you're giving a Pledge of Allegiance, but at the center. And then you're going to try to move that part of your spine that's underneath your palm. So you're going to press it down towards the floor or the wall behind you. And then you're going to lift that part of your spine up towards the sky, or if you're upright, just pushing it outward towards your palm. And it's a little bit of a, if you want to think about it as a back bend or forward extension. Sometimes it depends on what plane you're in. If it makes more sense to say it's a back bend or it's a lift towards the sky.
You want ice cream, Valerie?
And then we're going to settle that for a moment and just notice how that upper part of our spine is feeling. What that upper part of the spine really likes to do is actually twist a little bit. So that's where we're kind of giving it the opposite treatment of a little bend and a little flex, a little forward and back. So now we're going to place our palm on our belly area, so below where our ribs are at. And you can have both palms, one palm. And this part of our spine really likes to bend and flex. So we're going to twist it a little bit. It also enjoys twisting, but big job is to bend forward and flex back. So you're going to take that palm and pretend that you're twisting that part of your spine with your palm. So you're drawing the twist towards the palm. Having that palm at your belly gives you a little bit of feedback of what is my belly part of my spine actually doing. And if you're on your backside, you're going to be pushing your spine and the sides and your ribs towards the floor. It's a smaller shift, but having that feedback of the floor to press against might feel extra nice for your tissues on your backside. I know that this is a go-to for me when my muscles are kind of sore in the back. Kind of flex and push into the floor a little, twist a little bit. If you're upright, you don't even have to twist that much to really feel that little movement there. You can work your way back to your center, take a moment, settle in, notice how that, even just a little tiny twist of that lower spine and a little tiny bend to flex of the upper spine, maybe give you a little alleviation there. So we're going to take an upper twist, upper spine twist. So if you are on your backside, you're going to reach your right arm up towards the ceiling and then across you, almost like you're trying to roll over. So you're reaching with your right arm across your body. Your right shoulder might lift a little bit. And if you're seated, kind of the same motion where you're just reaching across your body, letting that upper part twist. You can reach towards the air or your knee. But if we can keep as much of our hips and that lower part of our back centered and just twisted the upper part, then we're going to kind of focus that twist there instead of the whole spine. And you can go in and out of this twist if you want to take a moment to come out, center, and then maybe go back in. And if you like the pause, if you like that hold where you're kind of like reaching over and really engaging some muscles to make that twist happen, you could stick with that. But if you want to just kind of like ebb and flow, follow your inhale, exhale, that might feel just as soothing. And then we'll take it to our second side. So as we're all laying down on our back sides now that I can see, you're going to twist it over to your second side. So maybe the first round, you just give a longer hold for a moment. You just take your Left arm up and across the body and reach like you're trying to flip over. And your left shoulder starts to pull off the mat, but the lower part of your belly and back and even your left and right hips stay pretty centered on your mat. It's just a little gentle reach with the upper part of the spine. And then you can come back to your center whenever you're ready, and you can always go in and out, forward and back, or you can pause lengthier. And whenever you're satisfied with the upper torso twist, then you can come back to center. And then most of you already did some windshield wipers with the knees where they just fell left and right. But if you want to take a deeper twist now, so if you want to tuck the knees more towards the chest and let them fall to the side, pause in a twist. If you want to take some rock and roll business, but add a little twist down there to that bottom part of the spine. Nice. Seeing some excellent variations. Nice. We're gonna roll our way up to a seat, however you want to get there. So you can roll onto a side or you can roll just straight up after a couple of ups and downs. And we're going to see if we can take some of that small little spinal articulation and move it all the way from the tailbone to top of head and top of head down to tailbone. So if you need to use your hand as sort of a visual, this is the part of the spine I'm moving, and it kind of walks up and down your body. That's super cool to try to, if I was there, I might touch your back and kind of go up the spine instead of the front, but you have your hand in front of you. So you can bring it to kind of where your collarbones are at in between. And you're going to feel that same up towards your fingers and then pressing back behind you. So that'll bend and flex right at the upper part. And it might feel challenging to kind of isolate this one little spot, but that's because your whole spine's connected all the way down to your pelvis, right? So if you're moving a little bit, that's fine. And then you can put your fingers kind of right between your breast, right as your plate. This is your sternum here, the middle lower part of your sternum. And then you kind of let that part play too. So you're getting a bigger arch in your back and then a bigger reach forward. Starting to kind of grow our cat and our cow. If that's what you're familiar with. And then we're gonna let it grow even more. So you can place it right at the end of your ribs. You feel how your ribs sort of come up from the sides and meet right about where your heart is at. So you can add that in too. And you're imagining that you're zippering up and down your spine. So you're rolling from the top to that last point, middle of the back, and then rolling back up. And maybe noticing some things that are going on in there while you're at it. And then you add the last part, which is your low back. You can place your hand on your belly. If it's accessible, you can reach behind you and actually touch that lower lumbar. And really notice how much you can articulate from the bottom as you sort of zipper your way up. It's nice if you really take your time to notice, okay, I'm bending forward. Now I'm going to work my way back down. I'm rounding, letting my middle, letting my low back round. If there are any interesting blind spots along the way, like I'm not sure I'm moving that part of my spine, or I know I'm not moving that part of my spine. It's just some food for thought. Nice work. All right, we're gonna come back to center and then we're gonna add a little, just a simple little sachet, kind of left to right. The arms swing side to side like they're windmilling. They can drag on the floor. They can be up and down. You can hold them out in another variation, like a T or cactus arms. And then notice if you can feel that twist generated from a few spots in your spine. So maybe you can feel your pelvis bones shifting and your low back is also moving. Your middle, your shoulders, all of it's integrated. So see if you can feel the zippering motion, but side to side now in a way. Nice. We're going to come to stillness. And then we're going to come on to hands and knees and you get to wiggle a little bit. So without all the cues from me, just find yourself onto your palms, onto your knees, and you're going to take your practice into your own hands for a moment. See if your spine maybe is feeling pretty juicy already. Perhaps you even notice how it positively affected your neck or your shoulder joint, maybe your hip joint. You can be looking around with your head. You'll be shifting forward into baby push-ups, back into child's. All just some ideas for you. And stay with your breath. Notice if any of those qualities have changed as well now that you're starting to focus on all the many layers of yourself, from skin to bones, to that energy line. And then we're slowly going to work our way up to standing for a few moments, actually. So from your tabletop, I want you to take your time in coming to standing. So if that means stepping your foot forward towards your hands, maybe you go into a down dog and walk your palms back. Maybe you just stand. But enjoy the journey, right? It doesn't have to be point A, point B. Maybe there's an 8.1, an 8.2, and then a 8.3 to a standing. All right, I wanted to end with a little bit of standing here before we come back to a rest. Because a lot of us are going to have a lot going on the next couple of days with holidays. And I want you to feel grounded throughout some of the chaos. It doesn't mean that you're impervious to it. It doesn't mean that you have to ignore it. It just means that if something arises, I'm hoping that you can ground down through your body, through your bones, to know that you are still going to make it through the holidays and be safe and sound on the other side. So take a little rock forward and back from toes to heels and sense that the floor is holding you up just as much as you are pushing it down. You might take your feet a little bit wider than you're used to. That would make you have a stronger base. So hips distance maybe a little bit wider even. And as much as you're teetering and playing with your balance here, your body is so good at recognizing where that center is. How far can I lean forward? How far can I lean back before I need to come back to that center? I need to come back to that grounding of my heels into the mat, into the floor, into my kitchen, into my bedroom, wherever you are. And then take a little bit wider of a stance, maybe just a little heel toe out, a little mini bend in your knees, and then take that same rock forward and back and notice if you feel a little bit stronger in your base. You can place your palms somewhere like your hips, your belly, your heart. You can even cross them and hold on to your arms like you're embracing yourself for a hug. And remind yourself that wherever you are physically in a room or amongst certain people, that you're at home in your body and you're safe there. And the next time somebody talks about politics at the dinner table, you just hug yourself and rock. Take a big reach up with the arms towards the sky or the ceiling, wherever you're at. I've got somebody outside today. Maybe you take a little reach towards your left and your right, arcing. TikTok like you're going left to right. And then you're going to slowly bring your arms down as you're shifting and moving and wiggling, and then fling your arms side to side, just as you did while you were on your seat. Maybe more of a windmilling here now that we're upright. And sense that even in this freedom of this flinging about, you're still grounded to the floor. You can still feel the heels, the toes, all of it are articulating to find your balance, to bring you back to that center, not going to fall over. And start to wind it down. Eventually, so that we come to stillness where we get to melt down towards the floor. So that might look like a marshmallow floating down. It could look like chocolate. It could look like a squat. It could look like a messy pile of bones and tissue. You're going to get to the floor. And I know we were just upright, so if you're not quite ready to lay down and enjoy your little resty rest, then you can always stay upright. Another great option. I enjoy part of my meditating and part of my thoughtfulness is being upright, but I like to be against a wall or something cush so that I feel a sense of holding. Something's holding me. Mother Earth's holding me. My bed is holding me. Any position that you can find a little bit of peace in is always a great position to go to for your final moments of your practice. And I'll leave you with just a few more words before you're off to your own resting adventure. Whatever you're up to the next couple of days, family, friends, or Zooming all of these people, remember that you were loved, that they're loved, and that we're all connected in this world, even to the ground, to our pets, to all the little spaces in between those things. Have a safe holiday. Remember to come to your breath, come to that stillness, come to your center when you need it at any time. Thank you for sharing your practice with me this evening. Namaste.